Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Grosse Pointe War Memorial and Our Community Salutes 2022. My name is Ted Everingham. I'm a member of the Board of Directors here at the War Memorial Association and proud to be. And it will be my pleasure this evening to welcome you and to guide you through this very special evening for the young women and men and their families and really for all of us. You see, tonight we're honored to celebrate our next generation of American patriots, men and women who are graduating from high school this spring and enlisting in one of our armed services. We're privileged to watch and to listen as they take their oaths of enlistment tonight. What they're doing, why they're doing it, what they will do, they're all noble, they're selfless, they're signs of sacrifice and courage. And we're proud that we'll be able to witness all of that in this room tonight as they begin their patriotic journeys. We'll begin with our national anthem. I'll call upon our vocalist, Meredith Hanoyan, accompanied by Leah Chelaby. Ladies, please rise. Someone here in the front row said, wow. I guess that sums it up. Father Drew Van Keulen is the rector of Grosse Pointe's, Christ Church Grosse Pointe up the road a ways, but he's also the chaplain of our board of directors here at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial Association. And I'll now call on Father Drew to offer an invocation.
Ted, thank you. Charles, thank you for this invitation. Friends, thank you for welcoming me to offer a prayer on all our behalf. Let us pray. Almighty God, we give you thanks for these young women and men of our community who today commit themselves to the pursuit of freedom and the preservation of peace throughout the world. We give you thanks for their commitment to selfless service for their neighbor, known and unknown, for those whose legacy they now take up, and for the great cause of peace for which all strive. As they prepare themselves for service in the ranks of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, we commend them and all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad to your gracious care and keeping. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in all their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which shall beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding peace and presence wherever they may be. As these women and men lift their hands in service this evening, Let us pray, too, for those upon whose shoulders they stand, for mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers and friends, who have supported them to this day and upon whom they will rely for comfort and strength in the days and years to come. Hear their prayers as they cry unto you, and surround them with your comfort and your grace, that they may know the peace of your presence and the strength of your unfailing love. Finally, O God, in whose perfect kingdom all swords shall become plowshares, where nations shall not lift up sword against nation, and where no strength shall be known but the strength of love, guide all the nations of the world into the way of justice and truth, and establish among us all that peace for which all humanity longs. Grant this, we pray, for the sake of your love. Amen.
Thank you, Father Drew. I will now ask Brigadier General Rolf Mammen to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you'd always please say the pledge along with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I should have mentioned that General Mammen is also a member of our Board of Directors here. You may be seated, please. Thank you, General. And now I have the pleasure, your program says you're going to hear from Dr. Donna Hoban next. You aren't. It's my pleasure to introduce, in her absence, which was unexpected and sudden, Charles Burke. Charles Burke is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Grosse Pointe War Memorial Association, which owns and manages this facility. Charles is a deeply committed and visionary leader, one without whom this institution wouldn't be what it is today and what it will be in years to come. And I might add, he's become a dear friend. Charles Burke.
Thank you, Ted, and good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Just to put this in context, this is the first time we've gathered for this ceremony in 3 years. And I think it's just profound that in such a divided week, in a very tragic week in our country, that we can come together under the light of your commitment, you young people, that you are going out and to do a remarkable thing for all of us as servant leaders moving forward. So it's really a happy moment to say welcome to all of you. It's a happy moment to welcome everyone here. I do want to say welcome on behalf of the Board of Directors, many of whom are here tonight, and the professional staff, and the hundreds of people that will be watching online following this event on Facebook and online. I was trying to think of something profound to say. Ted does such a great job all the time of speaking so eloquently all the time. So it's hard to come up here after Ted speaks because he's taken all the good words. And he always does such a remarkable job, and I'm grateful to him. But I thought of a quote I wanted you all to listen to, and I wanted your parents and your brothers and sisters to you. And this is from Teddy Roosevelt, one of my favorites, Citizenship in a Republic. Listen to these words. It is not this critic who counts, not the man or woman who points out how the strong man or woman stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself for a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that this place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. That's the grittiness that makes us Detroiters. That's the grittiness that makes us strong as an institution and Americans. And that's something I think you all need to think about. And it's in that spirit that we say congratulations. It's in that spirit of great enthusiasm that he speaks of daring greatly, of striving valiantly, that we send you on your way and we say thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you, Charles. We have two gentlemen to speak to us tonight, and it's exciting that both of them are here, and we're proud to have them. The first is Dr. Stephen Bucci. He was born and raised in Dobbs Ferry, New York, and graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1977. He's a retired Army Special Forces colonel with extensive command and staff experience across 28 years of service. During his last 4 years in uniform, he served as the military assistant to the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. Dr. Bucci also held Pentagon positions as staff director of the immediate office of the Secretary of Defense and Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense, being responsible for the department's response to cyber attacks, domestic terrorism, and pandemics. He was also a senior consultant at IBM Corporation and the director of the Allison Center for National Security Affairs at the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. Dr. Bucci served operationally in Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia, and as an intelligence operative in Eastern Europe. He was an active participant in the nation's response to the 9/11 attack on the Pentagon, and the War on Terror, Hurricane Katrina and other natural disasters, and a number of public health emergencies. He is now an independent security consultant and an executive leadership coach who appears frequently on local, regional, and national television and radio, and speaks across the nation with conferences and universities. Dr. Bucci received a Master of Arts degree and his PhD from in International Affairs or International Relations at the University of South Carolina. He's also a graduate of the United States Army War College and the Hellenic Army War College in Greece. Busy man. He and his wife of 40 years, Suzanne, now live in Harbor Springs, Michigan. Why he would want to be here instead of there on Memorial Day weekend is a question to be answered. He and Suzanne have 2 married sons and 4 beautiful, all of them are beautiful, grandchildren. Please, a warm welcome for Dr. Stephen Bucci.
Well, good evening. It looks like a lot of pages, but the words are typed largely so I can see them. I want to thank you for having me here tonight. This is a wonderful event. I know you have not done this for several years, and the whole country is building back. So this is exciting that they were able to do it for this group of honorees. And I have to tell you, it is incredibly uplifting to see that America is actually moving forward into hands as capable as the ones represented here. Congratulations to all that are entering the services. And I want to congratulate the parents, any grandparents that might be here, and the siblings of these young folks, because you guys all contributed to it too, some of you a whole lot. I have to tell you, I've done a lot of interesting things in my military and governmental career. I've led troops from the 82nd Airborne Division, the 5th and 7th Special Forces groups in both combat and in peacetime missions. Pretty much everything I've done has had to do with leadership. A lot of the things were difficult, but they were all kind of a blast. And I have to tell you, they were a challenge, but they were worth it because it was an honor to be able to serve this country. Most relevant to all of you is that at one point in my career, I was a basic training company commander for 2 years in the Army. And I took young men and women, just like yourselves, civilians right off the street, and in 8 weeks watched our drill sergeants transform them into professional soldiers. That's an amazing transformation. Basic's a little different in each service, but since I spent a whole lot of my career in the special operations community as a Green Beret and always worked jointly, so we had all the services represented in our operations, I have to tell you, I think what I'm about to say should apply to all of you. I could talk to you about PT, DNC, BRM, CNC, or the UCMJ. By the way, you're going to have to learn a whole new vocabulary when you join the military. By the way, that's physical training, drill and ceremony, basic rifle marksmanship, customs and courtesies, and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. All of those things are going to be very important to you in your development as military professionals, but that's not what I'm going to talk about tonight. What I'd like to talk to you about is the fact that you are about to experience an incredible cultural shift. Your life is going to be very different in the military than it was before the military. And it doesn't matter which service you go into, it doesn't matter what your specialty is, it doesn't matter where you are today, it's going to be different. Once you raise your hand and swear that oath, you will no longer be just an individual. You're going to become part of a team. In fact, you're actually going to become part of a whole bunch of teams simultaneously. You're going to become part of the military writ large. You're going to be part of your particular service. You're going to be part of the specialty that you enlist for within that service. You're going to be part of your major unit of affiliation, be that an Army division, a brigade, a wing, or a ship. And lastly, and most importantly, you're going to be part of your small unit team, whatever the service calls it, because they call them different things. Basically, the folks you live and work with every day. Because we're in a time of great turmoil here in America, and in some cases actual division, I want to emphasize to you what it means to become a part of a team such as you're going to do. Regardless of how you feel today about anyone who is different than you, who looks different, who worships differently, who doesn't speak like you, or any of those things, it doesn't matter anymore. If any of that stuff bothers you, those differences, you need to get it into your heart and into your head starting tonight that you're going to be part of a team. You are all going to be one together. You don't lose your individuality. Don't get me wrong. And not in our military. Some militaries you might, but in our military, we actually let you keep it. But it's now going to become secondary to the mission and the team. That, folks, is not negotiable. You're going to have to learn how to work together, how to live together, and most importantly, how to fight together. If someone above you in rank gives you an order and they look differently than you, they sound different, and some of them will sound completely different than you, trust me, because we get folks from all over the country. If they worship differently or any of that kind of stuff, and their order is lawful, you only have one option, and that's to obey and execute that order as professionally and to the highest ability that you have to give. If you're put in a leadership role, and immediately several of you went, well, that's not going to happen for a long time. Wrong again. In our military, you're going to start getting leadership roles almost immediately. So if you're in one of those roles and you look at the people that are subordinate to you and you treat any of them differently than you treat any of the others because of some external difference, you are violating your oath and your integrity. And most importantly, you're putting the mission at risk, and that is not allowed. I can tell you, I've worked for, with, and over people of every gender, race, color, religion that you can think of. Some of them were good. Most of them were pretty darned exceptional. And it had nothing to do with any of the externals. It had to do with an internal thing called their heart. If they were professionals, if they worked hard, if the content of their character was strong, if their ethos and spirit of service was sound, if they were willing to serve beside me, to watch my back, and be part of that team, then I was willing to die to protect them. And they felt the same way about me. You guys are all starting on a great adventure. Moms and dads and siblings, you're coming along for the ride, by the way, because they're going to be able to communicate with you like no incoming class in the military ever has before. I call all of you to live up to the highest standard to which you're able. I call on you to adopt the mindset of a protector, because that's what this country needs, and that's what this country has to have. A little history. The Spartans of ancient Greece, not the guys down the road over there, right? Not dissing the other guys down the road, but the Wolverines don't fight in a phalanx, so it's a little hard to talk about them in this context. But in Sparta, they were one of history's most storied fighting forces. And every time they went off to battle, they had a ceremony that they conducted. Didn't have anything to do with their kings or their generals. They stood on the side and watched. It had to do with their mothers and their elders, so their grandparents. And they would come, each group family, to their individual loved one that was about to march off to battle. And they're dressed in the whole 9 yards, all the armor and all that stuff. And mom would come up and would grab her child by the arms and look at him dead in the eye and say something like this: "Go for Sparta. And when you return, do so carrying your shield high in victory or being carried on it." They were saying, in essence, your nation is depending on you. Defeat is not acceptable. You must prevail, or all is lost. Go and give everything you have to the last ounce of your strength. Go and prevail, or die in the trying. Today I say to you, your nation is depending on you. Service to this nation is not just a job. It's a high calling. It's a dangerous calling. It's a difficult calling. But it's one without which America cannot long survive. Make your families proud. Do your best. Serve with honor and distinction. Our respect, our prayers, and our love go with you. Congratulations. Thank you.
I feel like Charles Burke. How do you follow that? Thank you so much, Dr. Bucci. It's now my honor to introduce you to Brigadier General Scott Hapaka. I hope I got that name right. I've been practicing all day. He is the Assistant Adjutant General of the Michigan Army National Guard. This man is so approachable that it's difficult for me to think of him as anything but Scott because that's what he asked me to call him. Anyway, the general entered military service in June of 1993 as an infantry officer. He initially was assigned to the 10th Mountain Division as an infantry platoon leader, and then as a mortar platoon leader. Upon selection to the 75th Ranger Battalion, he served with the 3rd Ranger Battalion until he left active duty service in June 1997. Following active duty, the general entered the Michigan Army National Guard in 2001, where he currently serves as Assistant Adjutant General Land Component Commander. His previous assignments include multiple commands and staff officer positions in units throughout the Michigan Army National Guard. His deployments include Operation Uphold Democracy, Haiti, Operation Noble Eagle, Military District of Washington, D.C., Operation Enduring Freedom, Regional Command West, Afghanistan, where he served as Task Force Commander and Senior Advisor to the Afghan Border Police. The General is the Chief Executive Officer today of the Michigan-Israel Business Accelerator, a nonprofit corporation dedicated to advancing bilateral economic partnerships between Michigan and Israel. In effect, the gentleman has 2 full-time jobs, and I'm not sure how he balances them all, but he does it with great skill and great success. Scott and his wife Susan have been married now for 24 years. They live down the road in Milford, Michigan, and they're the proud parents of 21-year-old Abby and son Alex, who's 19. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Scott Apaka.
So good evening to all of you in the room. I'll start with probably the most important expression of what this evening represents, which is family. And I'll end up finishing with that as well. I want to say good evening to all of the high school students and your families, and any local civic leaders that are in the room, the board of directors for this just phenomenal War Memorial Association. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you this evening at this recognition event. I'm honored to represent the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, and I'm humbled to be here to represent my boss and Rolf's boss. He's a 2-star, by the way. His name's Paul Rogers, but he's a genuinely good human. As I stand here in front of you, I'm humbled as we recognize you and all of your families and the friends and the members of this community, the patriots, all of which that are here to love you. And they do. They're here because of you. This Community Salute program offers all of us an opportunity to recognize and support our high school seniors who plan to enlist in the United States Armed Forces. With the support from this program and these communities, these young individuals, you are preparing for something, a transition that lies ahead, and a journey that starts this evening. This oath that you're going to take this evening is not just words. It is not just words. It is something that brings all of us together. It represents the fabric of this nation, and it represents the family that makes this nation great. The oath of enlistment has been around since the establishment of the Continental Army. The words have changed very little over the years, but they represent a sentiment and a strength. And its commitment that the words represent is something greater than all of us. In preparation for today's events, I paused to really reflect on the meaning of the oath, and I thought about the oath of office I took almost this exact date in 1993. I pause and I thank the fellow airmen in the room, the Marines, the sailors, Coast Guard, Army, all members of the military that at one point raised their right hand and took an oath. I'm thankful for all of you that are going to take your oath today. You represent the next generation of leaders in the military and in the United States. I'm thankful for your families, the parents, the aunts, the uncles, brothers and sisters, all of your family, grandmas and grandpas that love you and have supported you in the choices you're making. I'm grateful for the members of this community, the leaders in this community, the leaders of this organization here, the members of this nonprofit organization that wrap their arms around young men and women like you and support your decision. It takes leadership to do that. And I'm grateful for the leadership in this room. I'm humbled to wear the rank of a general, but it doesn't make me necessarily the leader. It makes me a leader, along with the leaders in this room. And it's because of the leaders in this room and those who have come before us that we are truly blessed. If you're a veteran, if you wouldn't mind, please standing and be recognized. If you could join me in a round of applause for our veterans. Please stand and be recognized. All veterans. It is because of them that we collectively are able to do what we do. And that we celebrate you and the gifts that we have been given. You're about to take an oath. And this oath is something greater than words. It says that we, and when you say it, you will use your name, and you'll say your name, and you'll state it. But together we, as a family, support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It says that we will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that we will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over you. And we'll do so in accordance with the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And then we finish it by saying, "So help me God." These aren't just words. They're a bond. They're a commitment to something greater than ourselves. And the family in this room and the strength that this family gives us as I stand before you, and I hope that when you take your oath of office, you feel that same strength and power, because it is very real. And the unique thing about this oath is the words are essentially the same across all the services and their promise. And this promise sets us apart than other countries. And it's a set of stricter rules. Make no mistake, what this family are entering, we hold ourselves accountable and we get the job done. And we do it together. The oath is about discipline. It's about values. There is an expectation that we together represent excellence and integrity and leadership and honor and selfless service, personal courage, pride, all those things that make the military great, serving something greater than yourself. The choice to join the military was yours to make, and you volunteered. Nothing is stronger than the heart of a volunteer. My journey started 28 years, almost 29. And I'm a better person, a better father, a better husband because of my service. I left active duty, had a 4-year break in service, and took my oath of office to join the National Guard September 13th, 2001. Told my wife that I would do it for about 2 or 3 years. I'm a public school graduate, and I'm not the best at math. But I'm doing it because I love it. I love the people I serve with. I love you. I love your families and the men and women that I have the blessing of serving. While I wear the rank of general, I serve them. I'm grateful for your willingness to serve and your willingness to answer the call for service. Dr. Bucci called it a calling, and he's spot on. This is a calling, ladies and gentlemen, and our military depends on you answering that call. Nothing is stronger than the heart of a volunteer, and this is especially true now in the complex world we're living in every day. What's happening overseas, what's happening here in the United States, all of us together as a family, we salute and we stand with you as you are about to enter this awesome calling called military service. You're not just taking an oath, you're making an important commitment, and along the way, all of you will make your own form of choices and what it means to sacrifice. And I thank you for that. You'll miss birthdays, you might miss different events. I've missed a few. I know Rolf's probably missed a few. I know Dr. Bucci has missed some. I know all of us who've worn the uniform have missed various events. And for some reason, our families still wrap their arms around us, and they support what we do, how we do it, and most importantly, why we do it. Your choices have brought all of us together this evening. And I, too, am going to actually drop a quote on you. This one's a guy named Elmer Davis. He's a news reporter, so he's a regular guy. He's just a news reporter. But the words he chose are special. This guy was a news reporter and director of the United States Office of War Information during World War II. He was a civilian. But his choice of words were special. This nation will remain the land of the free so long as it is the home of the brave. You are that brave. You represent that brave. It is your choice to represent brave. It is your family's choice to support you in the decision that you're about to make this evening. It is the family that makes this nation great, and it is this family that is the fabric of this nation. I'm truly grateful to all of you and my family for the choices that they've supported me along my journey. Rolf and I served together. He's a part of my military family. Dr. Bucci was a part of this military family. The veterans that are in here are part of the military family. Regardless of the type of uniform you wear, you are part of the military family. And those members of our family, while they may not necessarily wear the uniform, they serve with us in a commitment by bond and by love. And with that, I thank you for your commitment. I thank you for your bravery, for the decision and the commitment that you're about to make this evening. And I thank you for the love of your family. I thank the family members for their love, and the leaders in this room for your dedication and your love of these men and women who make this country great. I salute you all, and God bless the United States of America. Now, if I can ask all of the men and women who are about to take the oath, if you can stand. I'm going to change this up a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pull an alibi, and I'm a general, and I can. Because this is so important, I'm going to ask all of you to please face your families. I want them to see you. So if you could just form a row right here. I'll be behind you. Go ahead, get next to each other. Get used to doing this. There you go. It's important that you stand before them and that they can see who you are, and they can see the passion and the love in your voice as you do the following. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations. Let's give them a round of applause. Go ahead and take your seats.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Congratulations and thank you. and thank you to the families. In just a moment, I'm going to invite you back up here one at a time to come forward and accept two things: our heartfelt thanks and a certificate that will commemorate this very important moment in your lives. Mary Lamparter of our War Memorial Board will read your names. When she reads your name, please come forward to receive your certificate from General Mammon, and please wait to come up until Ms. Lamparter reads your name. Mary?
Would Alexandru Cholak please come forward? And I'm not sure he made it yet, but I believe his family is here. If someone would like to come forward for Lajabrian Eberhardt. Jalen Gore. Christopher Simons. Travis Jackson. And his sister, who is also joining, Travia Jackson. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Mary. One more time, a round of applause for these young men and women. Thank you.
As we close our program with American the Beautiful, I will sing the first verse, which has beautiful poetry, which extols the selfless heroism that you guys are giving. And I would appreciate if everyone would join me for the more familiar and traditional second verse. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Melissa and Leah. Those who know me well can probably sense that I'm on the back end of a cold and my throat keeps trying to give out on me. And I can't blame the cold for the sound of my voice now, because I have a bit of maybe a softball in my throat filled with emotion and pride, humility, gratitude for all of you. As I said at the beginning, tonight we celebrate and salute the next generation of American patriots. The next generation of American patriots, because you will be following in the footsteps of gentlemen like these, men and women who preceded you, and you'll be setting the example for those who will follow you. But tonight, you are our next generation of American patriots. Much has been said tonight about family, and with the events of the last few weeks, few days even, that word has greater, perhaps deeper meaning than any time in my life. We are aware, as all of you are, that you will be leaving behind parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters and friends, others who are important to you, people you grew up with, people you know and love. Tonight, I join the others in thanking those people. They are lending us you for a time to fulfill the patriotic mission that you voluntarily have accepted to serve us, to serve this country. For that family, there will be an empty chair at the dinner table. There will be an empty bedroom. Maybe there's going to be a lonely pet that grew up with the young man or woman who's leaving home shortly to serve all of us. Those that you leave behind will be listening for that footstep on the porch, signaling that you've arrived home. A very special person, the one who will leave home shortly as a boy or girl fresh out of high school and returning as a proud and confident man or woman in uniform, making all of us proud. You will return as the next generation of American patriots. So our community, all of us, salute you and your families. We are eager for the day that you'll return to this historic home, and we would like you to begin to think of this building as a home. We will welcome you always with warmth, great pride. Godspeed. Now that concludes our service, our program, but not our friendship or fellowship. You're certainly welcome to go back into the rooms we came from, the reception room, the dining room beyond it. Enjoy some food. Enjoy our good wishes. Enjoy our wishes for every success. And our thank you again from the War Memorial, the community you serve. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen.